So this notes we're going to talk about rates and unit rates. So a rate is a ratio that compares two quantities with different kinds of units. So an example is like 100 words in 2 minutes. So when a rate is simplified so it has a 1 in it, so like 50 words a minute, it is called a unit rate. Alright, so you write the two quantities as a rate, fraction. You divide both the numerator and the denominator by the denominator. This will create a denominator of 1. Write units, unique units of measurements for both. Alright, so for example down here we have 100 words in 2 minutes. So we divide each of them by 2. So when I divide 100 by 2, it gives me 50 words in 1 minute. So notice that your 1 is on the bottom, okay? As long as your 1 is somewhere, so now it's really like a proportion. So if I were to erase this part, we would have another proportion right here. We would have words over minutes. And it works that way. So 50 words in 1 minute. Let's do a few examples. Alex can run 24 miles in 3 hours. What is his average speed in miles per hour? Okay, so we have miles and we have hours. So miles per, this is my per, hour. So we want to go from 24 miles in 3 hours to how many miles in 1 hour. So I cross multiply, or I can just divide each side by 3. So remember that y'all have done this before, proportions. So if you can easily see what you divide by, so notice like the note said you can divide by your numerator, or not your numerator, your denominator. So we get that the miles equals 8. So it's 8 miles per 1 hour. Sorry, my daughter is talking. So let's try number 2. You buy 5 pounds for $35. 5 pounds for $35. So how much does 1 pound cost? We want 1 pound, and we don't know how that much costs. So I cross multiply, and I get 35 times 1 equals 5x. Divide by 5. So I get x equals 7. Okay. Normally what you always do is that normally you want your money on top because you can just divide it out. If you pay $35 for something, then you can have 5 pounds for something. But I just wanted y'all to show y'all that it works as a proportion too. But you can just divide out 35 and 5. Just like this. So this is second option. This is actually what we're going to get to. So over here, on number 3, it says the cost of different sizes of orange juice are shown in the table. Which container costs the least per ounce? So we want, least, cost least per ounce. So the per is your cost. So we can actually write a fraction bar instead of per ounce. So now it looks like that. So I do my cost per ounce. And again, my cost per ounce. My cost per ounce. And then last but not least, my cost per ounces. Oops, I accidentally put $64 twice. It's supposed to be 64 ounces. 96 ounces. Alright, so now we can divide those out. Notice that you are going to be dividing, it's going to get smaller. So if 16 ounces costs $1.28, then the per ounce cost is going to be smaller. So I'm going to divide all these out. Alright, so I divided those out. So notice how it gets smaller the more ounces that you buy. So that's true about most things. Alright, so anytime you have the per ounce, the per tells you which one's going to be on bottom, the one that follows it. So this is top, that's a dividing sign, that's bottom, or numerator over denominator. Alright, so when we divide all these out, notice how they get smaller each and every time. Till we have the least per ounce one. Well, we know that that's not real money, but it's about 4 cents per ounce, but it's not exactly 4 cents. So we know that this one is less than that one. Alright, so this one is our answer.